This is for the rain. She very kindly said kind of the web stuff and tech stuff is kind of over to me, is what she said. And she just gave me the update on is it eGrant that
And grant.
and
Hmm.
yeah, she says it's twice as expensive as what we're using now, but she's going to check out the free version of it. She's going to go for a free trial,
Yeah.
and she's already started asking around for like potential board members, just putting out feelers. And I just said, like, please remember that you had an order of like, let's get the house looking fabulous, and then we'll do that. And I just sent her an email. I love her keenness, though. And we also actually from the UK side have a really beautiful friend who's looking at potential future trustees as well, Karen Bradshaw. But like we know we want to get the house in order. I think we all think that the order that you gave us was a goodie. Um,
I agree that I've been wondering about new trustees for ages, and you
Yeah.
you you hit it right. You're absolutely right on that one. But the difficulty is I could so easily blunder and get the wrong person. If people were on a kind of power trip,
Yeah.
it could be we're small enough to, for them to do a lot of damage. But also, good young trustees don't grow on trees, I've discovered, unfortunately. And I agree completely. We do want some we want some younger people. The problem generally is that they're very, very busy, and it's
Mhm.
older people who have the time. And I know what will happen, and I've raised it before with our own, the existing trustees, is they'll just recommend more academics.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cherry will recommend another botanist, and Tim would recommend another academic.
That's why
Um,
I think Karen's really useful, darling,
yeah,
in that. So my friend Karen
yeah,
is the CEO of the Charity Finance Group. Her
Yeah.
members are the financial directors of different UK charities, and I think within
yeah,
that network, we could possibly find somebody fabulous.
yeah, yeah. It's, I mean, really, a good trustee would firstly understand completely what it is we're doing, uh, realize that as far as, for example, the field operations, they really can't mess with that. Uh,
No.
but but would have the contacts for fundraising, knowing their way around finance, charity finance, and
Yeah.
that is a tall order. I mean, I sort of toyed with a few, but it, it's a really good point you make, and it's a really difficult one to crack.
Yeah.
But I agree completely that we do need a younger profile.
Hmm. I think it's also relevant to think about some of your contacts from like awards you've won. So if you were to go back to the organizations that gave you those awards and say, hey, we're at this really exciting time for Inga Foundation, and we're bringing in we're up leveling our board of trustees and our US board in order to reflect that. And we know your
Yeah,
view and your community are so powerful that we wanted to have
yeah,
a quick call to see if anyone comes to mind who might be interested in this. One of the hard things about finding board members, as you alluded to, Michael, is you're donating your time. Anyone who isn't like, I get LinkedIn messages all the time from random
yeah,
organizations that are like, hey, will you be on our board? We need help with fundraising. I'm like, no, that's what
yeah.
I do for a living. Like, you're just asking me to donate my time.
Quite
Um,
right. Yes. Yeah.
but I do know I have seen, let's see, for example, I work with Value for Women, which is a UK based social enterprise that's driving gender inclusion in the private sector in emerging markets. And they, Visa Foundation is one of their big funders. And Visa Foundation was very happy to hop on their board. And then because they were on their board, not only did they feel like, okay, we're giving them money, but then this person was giving them insights into other funders and connecting them to other
Yeah.
funders way
Yeah.
beyond
Yeah.
what they would do
Yeah.
just as
Yeah.
a funder.
Yeah.
So I I think Karen Bradshaw is a great place to explore, a great person to explore with. And
Yeah.
you guys also have some really interesting contacts to reactivate and have exploratory conversations with.
Yeah, and Chivo might be another source because they've done this work with us already, and they're expanding out. This is the one corporate collaboration that we're doing, and they might have some insights on, like, it would be fabulous to have Aida, the main contact, as a trustee, for example, or
Yeah.
somebody. So I'm wondering, Shoshana, maybe it might be interesting, some thoughts on, like, what's a really good vetting process, or is there like a trustee trial period? Do you know what I mean? So that might protect us to really make sure that we have a right fit. Do you have any suggestions around that? Um,
It's a really good question. And definitely, I would go with vetting period rather than like trial period,
yeah,
because yeah, that's just how it usually works. And of course, it's a vetting period or vetting process on both ends, right?
yeah.
Them checking you guys out and you checking them out for
Mm,
skills, experience, cultural fit. Do they get you? Are they not going to make a
Hmm.
mess of the field model?
Hmm.
And so oftentimes, you do this initial screening of like sort of internal, what are our needs? What are the different profiles we want to have on the board? Um, you want to create a sort of a document, right? Kind of not in terms of reference per se, but like a one pager or two pager for prospective board members that talk about where the organization is at, where it's going to, how exciting this moment is, the transformation that's possible, and the key
Hmm.
skills that
Hmm.
are needed to
Hmm.
shepherd the organization through this next phase of growth.
mm,
And what's so important about this is it's not just, hey, what do you guys need, but it's, why is this so exciting for a board member? Why should they want to spend their
yep.
time on this? And you guys have it. I've said to, I think it was to my partner, I was like, these guys, I haven't seen an organization with so much potential to transform the world as these guys in a really long time. I'm talking about
Mm,
you guys.
mm,
And so what you want is for people to see that, to have that feeling, and then to be like, I want, like, the limited time I have dedicated to volunteering in my life, I want it to be for these guys because I think this is going to make the most difference in the world. And so
Yeah.
this document is like sort of selling yourselves, but also being very candid about the transformation that you're aiming for and the struggles you have and the critical role that the board will have in that. And so it's going to provide a little bit more behind the scenes details than like your website would have, right? It's really talking candidly about this transformation, but in a way that's going to really excite
Hmm.
whoever's reading it.
mm,
You're definitely going to want to have a series of meetings or interviews, whatever you want to call them, so you guys can get to know each other and get to know each other beyond like a formal like sit down interview. But maybe it's like a process of like three different virtual coffees that person would have with each of you. So you each get to connect with them as humans and also pick their brain and get to know
mm,
them, etc., and start to build that relationship. And then you definitely want to do, I would recommend a reference check. Now, the reference, be a reference check. If they're coming in from someone who knows them well, then that's probably sufficient. If they're kind of like a recommendation of a recommendation, then you do want to poke
Hmm.
around. And my experience, unfortunately, has been the references that they're going to give you are obviously going to be great references. I mean,
Hmm.
what I have seen in hiring, and this is just hiring overall, not specifically for boards, but of course, if someone is a mediocre person, employee or whatever, participant, then when you talk to their references, you're still just going to get like, yeah, they're good. Yeah, like mediocre sort of responses, right?
mm,
Vanilla, positive vanilla responses. But when someone is amazing, their references are going to, speak wonders about them. So you can get a sense of if someone is amazing or if they're just sort of average.
Yeah.
But in terms of like dragging up if they've like created problems on boards in the past,
Yeah.
that's something you're gonna have to be a little bit more of a sleuth about. And LinkedIn is great for that. So you can just look on their LinkedIn, see where they said, like what boards they said they were on in the past, if they've mentioned being on any. And then you can just sort of cold outreach that organization on LinkedIn and be like, hey, I saw this person was on your board. We're considering them for our board. I would love to hear about your experience.
Beautiful. And Michael, I know you're not a LinkedIn guy, but I can help with that. Give your
Yeah.
guidance. So
I tend to bin a lot of LinkedIn messages. I get loads of them, but
I bet.
I do tend to kind of channel them rapidly into the bin. But
People are
I
for
think
funding. Like your foundation.
I'd like to go back, I think, one or maybe two steps.
Yeah.
You you use the phrase that the foundation gives a sort of sunset uh, sense. And it's true. I mean, the three trustees,
Yeah.
Bill has more or less, I mean, technically he doesn't want to, he had he had major surgery as well, Bill Vanderbilt, a transplant, and that really took him out for 12 months. And he really didn't want to continue. And their foundation is concentrating on democracy in the United States, for heaven's sake. And my goodness, yes.
more power to him.
Well, I'm all in favor of that.
Yeah. But basically, he's
But
still on a trustee because of admin that needs
sure,
to happen
but
versus.
sure. If somebody goes on to the website and goes more deeply into it, or goes on to the Charity Commission website, they would see, yeah, the four trustees. Uh, I don't know if our ages are given, it might be so, but I'm wondering what gave that impression of the sunset. Of course, it's obvious from our ages, but was there anything else in the delivery or in the image or the information that suggested, we're kind of about to fade into the western sunset
Let me think
or
back.
fall off our perches or whatever?
That's very
Uh,
Monty Python.
Yeah.
Can I offer a guess, and maybe that'll prompt you, Shoshana? Is I think there's no clear vision and excitement about here's where we're going. I think that's missing from the website, and that in
Yeah.
combo with the academic language is, I'm guessing, having loved you guys for, a million years, seeing that not there would, for me, say, huh. But
Yeah.
Shoshana, I'm just
Yeah.
just jumping in to give it, yeah.
Yeah.
that's part of it.
Yeah.
Part of it is the fact that you don't technologically look like you're here in the present day. The fact that your emails are sort of these at Gmail versus an institutional email, the fact that the US website is not great, these kinds of the fact that you don't have a newsletter, and then so that's the piece is like, okay, there's not modern technology kind of being used. There's a lot of great technology that you guys are using in all the definitions of technology in your work, but like the way the
Yeah.
organization is run, it's not there. So that was
Yeah.
another like sort of tip.
Yeah.
Another tip
Yeah.
is how Lorraine was talking about this technology. So she's like, we don't use automatic email responders. And I was like, no
Mm.
one's talking about automatic email responders. Like,
Mm.
I'm not even sure. I think in her mind, it was just email marketing platforms like a
Mm.
MailChimp or something like this, or Constant Contact. But the fact that she was using the language that wasn't even like accurate, and then
Mm.
she was speaking about it that sounded like from a point of fear, like that's bad to use these systems. It
Mm.
again felt like old school. And then finally,
Mm.
the way our conversations sometimes go feels like there's all the time in the world for us to talk about. It doesn't always feel as like pointed and get shit done, for lack of another word.
Mm.
Okay, I'm trying I'm trying to understand. Yeah, in my rough ecologist way. But
It may just be that what the energy you guys give off is a more academic energy.
yeah,
And it might be
yeah,
actually be more of that than, or just
yeah,
as much that as like sort of older
yeah,
energy. But I think the two
yeah,
together makes it feel like eh, this nuance that I think is important, which is yes, there's a question around sunset, but there's also a question around, are these the people who just get shit done?
yeah. I think I understand better. Um, I think possibly from the very beginning, there was so much. There are so many organizations out there
Yeah.
jumping on the bandwagon. I mean, it's all regenerative agriculture, of course, ecology, um, saving this, saving that, conserving whatever. Um, so many of them are hollow. There's nothing
Yeah.
behind them. And I think from the very beginning, personally, I wanted very strongly to convey the idea that there is science behind this. And
Yeah.
it's possible, I mean, I quite understand that we maybe overdone that. And I think maybe Lorraine also, she sort of get, I think in a way that's probably what attracted her too. She's got a background in universities. And it was the science, I think, that convinced her. So it's possible we've just overemphasized it and we just haven't been, fresh enough and enthusiastic enough about the way we're bringing about change. We sort of justifying it with, which is true. We're coming from the hardest science base, uh,
I-
whereas many people are not. But
I'll give you a,
perhaps we've over emphasized that.
it's things like when you still refer to it as a trial, which for a few years I've been saying, please, we know it works.
Yeah,
Please stop
yeah, yeah,
referring to it as a
yeah,
trial.
yeah,
That sort of thing. It's that sort of shift, I think.
yeah. I think also, I mean, we've been using the word pilot in the sense that from the very beginning, the strategy has been get this proof of concept in the field at scale.
Yeah.
And we're the first in the world to do it. Um, and that really has been the obsession at the cost of everything else. We've, as you very clearly spotted, that we don't have the institutional depth, the admin and all the rest of it that almost every other organization would have.
Yeah.
We've concentrated, perhaps obsessively, with the field work, and have always said, well, what we're doing is proof of concept at scale because we want to be able to convince government ministers or the people who administer these huge international funds that this is working at scale. And
Yeah.
perhaps we've over obsessed that. Um, that could be contributing to the slightly stodgy, perhaps self-deprecating uh, manner in which we've
No,
we've
that's the
got it.
British part. You.
Yeah,
Where are you
no, I
from?
get I get that. Yeah. Well,
I'm going to
yeah,
share with you here, and I can send it via email later also if easier. This is a short video. It's like 7 minutes of a woman named Joanne, who I work with, who is also quite deep in the science and the data on the work that she does. She's a nurse midwife, and she is an Atlantic Fellow, and she works in Malawi on infant death. And I this might be like sometimes seeing it is a little bit easier. So, and it like helps us like sort of be pulled in that direction. She does a
Mm.
great job of being like, historically, this has been the problem. And we have this new model, and it's still pretty young, it's still pretty new. We're still trying some things, but it even then, and they're much earlier in their process than you. I think they're maybe like 7 years in.
Mm.
Even then, you're like, I feel like this woman has the capacity to change the system.
Yeah.
She's not just analyzing it. She's not just proposing a solution. There's something, a sixth sense, an intangible that I feel like she can change the world.
Mm.
Yeah.
And like I said, I got that from you guys too, but I also got this other piece. And
Yeah.
so maybe
Yeah.
these 7 minutes were useful to watch, maybe
Yeah.
not. I
Yeah.
think at the end of the day, when you meet someone like Michael, you've been a professor for many years. I'm sure some of your students, right, have been, you meet them and you're like, you're going to change the world. And
He's
others, you're like, well, you're thinking, no,
he's not a professor.
you're
I
not a
mean,
professor, you're just a
yeah.
No,
researcher, not just a
I,
researcher. You
I
are
was a
a researcher.
researcher. I did some teaching, but not much because I was mostly in the field
Oh,
running a
so cool.
project.
Well, this
Yeah.
must be British because in the US, someone at a university would never let you just be a researcher and just
Yeah.
um, and not teach. Okay, well, you taught us
I,
sometimes, and I'm sure you saw
I
some
have.
students where you're like,
Yeah.
I just get this energy from you. Like you just make stuff happen and you're going to change the world.
Yes.
And it's a
Yeah.
sixth sense. But I think you guys
Yeah.
do have the ability to
Yeah.
identify that.
Yeah. 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 I get that, and there's certainly the goody students who sit in the front and take notes and sort of they produce perfect essays. Um, don't excite in any way. They'll get an upper second or even a first, but they're not exciting. They're just good students. I mean, as a matter, just as an observation, a woeful lack of critical, analytical faculty these days.
Sure.
Woeful. People just take it in. I love it when someone says, "What is that based on that you've just said?"
Mm.
Yeah.
Or where did you get it? And how good is that? How sound is that? Can we kick it? And I love it when that happens.
Ah,
And it did not happen very often.
I think that's also one of the because not many people do that, and I think you're projecting onto the world that they all want that, and a lot of
Mhm.
people don't need it. A lot of people don't need it, and you're doing it like we all do that. I design workshops that I would love
Yeah,
because that's
yeah,
unless we're
yeah,
really careful about it. If you're
yeah,
communicating with the world how you want to be communicated with,
yeah.
it's getting skewed. That's why,
Well, anyway, that was just an observation from some of the teaching I did.
yeah.
I didn't do a great deal. I was asked to do some lecture series when I was back in UK. One, I was asked to stand in for a man I just had huge admiration for. I mean, he's just uh, one of the most revered tropical forest ecologists in the world. I mean, if not the.
Mm.
And I had to stand in for him because he was becoming, in the end, terminally ill, and it was awful. If for all the reasons I would not have wanted to be asked to lecture, that was probably one of them, and I had to stand in for him. Um, yeah, very mixed feelings. I've been honored and also bloody sad. We lost him.
Mm.
I don't know how old he was when he died, but he was too young, and we lost a
Mm.
titan, really.
My lovely,
Incredible man.
my
Yeah.
lovely, we have Shoshana for half an hour
Yeah.
more.
So
How do we?
there's the perfect example. This is the
Yeah.
energy. This
Yeah.
is it's a sense of like, I'm older, we can just sort of talk. That's a little bit of the energy of
Okay. Okay.
it's a feeling of, oh, there's time to waste rather than, oh, we have to get shit done.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Which the
Yeah.
heart is important. I'm there, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a little bit, that's a short example. Okay, so
Okay.
to
Okay.
wrap this
Yeah.
up,
Yeah.
And just wrap up this piece of it, I would say the science is super important. What you're calling out about that there's no scientific basis for so much of the work that's currently being done and that's currently being held up as like the models, that absolutely needs to be presented. And we just want to present it in a really succinct, proactive way.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, the way we did it was just to say, well, look, this is all science-based. Um, and I still think we can say that, but I just agree with you. I think we need a bit more pizzazz in the website, in the presentation.
Yeah.
Uh, the truth is, the team, for the most part, are young in Honduras.
Yeah.
Our agronomist is getting on. He must be, I don't know, Luis is possibly
68,
even, he's
60 something.
late 60s. Yeah.
Mm.
The families love him. They
Yeah.
absolutely love him, especially the widows.
My lovely,
He,
I think she's talking about
yeah,
the HQs,
but
the
but
US teams, and
sure,
The
yeah,
public
but
face.
but the team itself is
yeah,
young.
yeah,
They're all young.
yeah.
Yeah. And yet, when you have engagements with funders or prospective funders, they're not getting to see that team unless they're going and visiting.
No, that's
And
true.
so
That's true.
that's where the breaking is.
Yeah,
You need
yeah,
that same energy in the
yeah,
leadership team, in the headquarters team.
yeah. So what they don't need to see is me. That's that's the basic. Look, I get it. I absolutely. If I if there is a young, passionate person to sort of take that over, well, we're looking at one now. So yeah, I do get it, and I'm quite
And you are the
happy.
science brains, Michael. I mean, what your role is critical, and we need this other energy too.
Well, it was critical, and I don't think it's critical now.
Okay.
I think you're right and you're wrong. It was absolutely critical because we were getting it wrong. The science was getting it wrong. But
The way you
but
manage the teams, though, darling, there's lots of stuff you contribute now. It's talking about adding stuff. It's not
mm,
talking about taking away stuff from you.
mm,
Mhm. Mhm.
mm. Well, okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you for that reframe, Belina.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean. I don't know
No,
why it's
no.
called it. I would think I was talking about your report.
Yeah.
It's like you were sitting right here. And
Yeah.
I was like, where did the it's come from? Sorry.
Yeah. So Shauna, I've got a sort of question that kind of hung over from the last time. You
Yeah, absolutely.
mentioned you mentioned that you'd worked quite a bit with Danone, with that team, the
Yeah.
livelihoods team. And I had a brief encounter with them about 2010, 2011, which was good. I mean, but we were sort of going in different directions at that time. Um, is it Bernard Giraud?
Yeah,
Giraud?
exactly.
Yeah. Uh, Quite a lot of contact with him, but of course, we're now 15, 16 years on, and they've changed undoubtedly as we have. Uh, I wonder if it would be appropriate if we asked you, could you just sort of drop a note to Bernard and say, you've come across us, there might be a very good scope to get back together and talk at least. Um,
Or should we do this after we do the website?
oh yeah,
With
yeah,
Belina.
yeah. Okay, sure, sure. We do, of course, website.
And I'm happy
Yeah,
to connect you. I
yeah.
would connect with my old team in the Denon Ecosystem Fund and then ask them to facilitate the connection with Bernard
Okay.
because I don't
Mm,
have a close relationship with Bernard.
yeah,
I don't know if he would remember me. We met once, but
yeah,
the other team, but yes, absolutely count on me to make that
yeah.
outreach when the time comes.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome.
When the
Let's
time
talk
comes. Yeah.
Let's talk about copywriting for a second, because that was something you guys mentioned
Mm,
wanting to sort of struggling with as you're working on the Keeling Prize application and wanting to find someone who is a really good copywriter and can really understand your model. Is that someone you would like a recommendation of, or where are you at with that?
Writing the
Yeah.
3 paragraphs was ridiculously hard because like I had been with you, I understood where you wanted us to go. Michael was supporting, but like Adam was still coming from like the old model, and he at last minute pulled it back to really academic jargony stuff, which made me almost burst into tears. So it was sort of, I think it was just the culture piece of
Yeah.
you're inviting us to change, and people are at different levels of understanding that Inga has to change. And for example, like, so Adam did amazing stuff for free, but he's
Yeah.
also looking for a web guy to do things for free, where we're like, actually, I think we need to pay people to do stuff
Quite
properly
right.
as the
Yeah.
funding comes in. And so
Yeah.
there's a lot of reverb around that shift at the moment. And I think that's what was
Yeah.
making it so stressful. Um, And I think that's also calling into question, like, well, Adam's been doing a bunch of stuff for free, so what does that mean of valuing and all, like all this stuff? So, um, yeah, it was. Um, I think for the short term, I can really help with the copywriting, working with Michael and Lorraine, but shifting the voice. I think part of it is me stepping into my confidence and kind of like setting the voice instead of getting
Oh,
shaken by stuff, with the thought that maybe at some point we can hire a Sophie. I think I'm more geared to be an interpreter for a copyright person. Although I teach people how to do stand-up comedy, so I'm used to editing and getting like clear things and
right.
funny things out. Um, I think for Inga, my sense is I'm more of a like a a bridge where a copywriter could then make it fabulous, if that makes sense for it. Uh, but for the meantime, I can act as that role. Um,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Hmm.
One thing that I found that works really well to get people all in the new mindset is to do something like a live workshop where you all, rather than like you playing tug of war in a virtually in a document, um, if you guys all hop on a call for an hour or two and you're like, all right, here's the guidance we've been given. Let's together hammer out. Maybe it's together hammering out what you want the copy to be on your homepage, or
Mm.
like a one pager about the organization. And if you all create it together, then that tug of war can happen live, and you can sort of course correct in real time. And then you have a, like, you've one, helped people shift their mindset, and two, you've come up with a starting point document that becomes your holy grail as to build from for everything else.
I think my concern, and Adam
Yeah.
is fabulous in certain things, is he's an only child, and there was like a control issue that came out there that I wonder if it would be fixed in a meeting like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, and maybe we don't ask him to help with the copy. We do it at a different. We get on board with Lorraine and Michael, but not with Adam. Does it make sense?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I think I just
totally.
asked too many cooks in the kitchen, because he looked at the thing and he was like, "Well, that's not factually correct," and that just shook my whole um, confidence. Uh, and we've already had, so recommended by me, you've had Sophie, Michael, and I think as a copywriter, as somebody who did the social media really beautifully,
Yeah,
um, and she's the one who connected us with the website guys. I've told them that we're going to give them the brief as well, but we're also looking for people either based in Cornwall or in Berlin, because Michael lives in both, so that we can
yeah,
actually sometimes physically sit next to them.
yeah,
We had a really great talk with Nina. She seems fab. We will send her the brief too, and I told her very plainly, though, we are also looking around for people that we can meet in person, because I think that's really important. Um, one of the one of the things I was wondering from you is your sense of, is it better to engage a group that do the website and some of the copy together, or is it okay to kind of separate those two out? That's one of the questions I had.
you
Um,
can separate them out. It's going to be more work for you if you separate them out.
Yeah.
because you're going to have to onboard two organizations. You're going to have to kind of create the alignment between them, or people, organizations. You're going to have to manage multiple organizations. My experience has been that when you find an agency that can sort of manage themselves internally and do it all, it's much better. But that should not be to the detriment of finding the right people. So if you find the absolutely right people and they're separate people, that's fine. But if you're comparing two options that are, for all intents and purposes, identical, except one is two distinct and one is one integrated, I would go with the one integrated.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then
Great. So it sounds then like you have clarity on the resources. You're getting some clarity on the next steps forward. And that has a little bit to do with you, Belina, stepping into your leadership in this role right now. And it sounds great. Okay, great. Other things that you guys want to talk about? Do you want me to take a look at the website brief? Anything else that would be useful there? And then I know you want to talk about sort of timing, spacing of our engagement, so we can definitely pivot over that after.
Yeah.
Can I just bail out for 5 minutes? I think
Sure,
there's somebody delivering something.
Yeah,
I'm
no
going to
worries.
cut.
Okay.
Okay.
Right, lovely. It'll be
Cut.
Belina is handling this bit anyway, so.
Perfect. Great.
Thanks. Yeah, so I haven't written the brief yet, but I
Okay.
will based on your thing. So it would be lovely if that could be one of the kind of async things that we
Yeah.
get feedback on. That would be lovely.
Absolutely.
And yeah, and would love to know, like, not only, like, I've loved this organization, I'm happy to help. I volunteer a lot of time, but he's also my partner. So there's like the emotional side of helping him through these major surgeries and trying to do this and trying to keep my own business. So there's quite a lot.
You have quite a few balls in the air.
Yes, many balls. So that's one of the reasons that we're saying, like, is there a way to really to honor you and your commitment? And it's not about scope creep, but it's about like we're just like quite at the max of what we can do. And this is a major transformation that we really want to do well. So yeah, we just wanted to know if there's any flexibility on how we plan it out.
Yeah. So there is. There's the part that's easy and the part that's a little trickier. And the part that's easy is to just say, instead of meeting once a month, we meet once every 2 or 3 months, whatever feels better for you guys.
Yeah.
The part that's a little trickier is this collaborate. It's not like you have 3 hours of my offline time a month. And so it's just, or 5 hours or 10 hours. It's just kind of like whatever you guys want to throw at me over the course of the month. And so what we can just do is, you guys have an idea of what that would have been if you were moving at your optimum speed. And I'm going to trust that you guys can have a sense of if you're, going beyond that. And if I feel like, whoa, this is more than any other team has ever thrown at me, sort of summing it over the period of time, then I would let you know that. But otherwise, I think we can do it on the honor system of just getting a sense of the pace for sure.
Okay. Thank you very much.
The thing that is important to me, because Molly paid for this.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys paid for it, but with Molly's money, right? Is that you just align it with Molly too. And so for me, it's fine. Of course, there's value in organizations being pushed. Of course, there's value in being like, you can make the most of me in this 3 months we have together. So go as fast as you can. And sometimes that works to push organizations to prioritize this that can easily fall to the back burner. But you guys have some real extenuating circumstances. And I think that this makes sense. You're clearly making the shifts, making the transitions, doing the work. And there's just only so much you can do with everything else going on in your personal lives. So just give Molly a heads up on that, and that's fine with me.
Okay, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Quite right too.
Yeah.
It was a really creative thing that Molly did.
Yeah.
It's fabulous. Yeah.
Yeah. And just since then, she's sent two more organizations my way. So I'm like really
Mm.
grateful to Molly too. And so
Mm.
I want you guys to get the most of it. And I also want her to understand that this is being treated in the
Yeah.
most sort of impactful way possible with her
Yeah.
investment.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Absolutely.
awesome. So, oh, hang on. What does that mean? So, um, if we had, was it one call a month
It's
or
one
two?
call a month,
Yeah.
and this is the first one. So
Yeah.
there's sort of we're 1 month into this 3 month engagement. So
Hmm.
the follow-on engagement. So the two remaining months,
Hmm.
if you want to, like you talked about, may expanding it out to 6 months, I think that's an amount of time that makes sense. I think 9 months is a really long time. Let's try to focus it on 6.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
then that would basically mean that we meet every 2 months. Um,
So we should cancel the 27th of May,
yes,
and we will reschedule with you, um, yeah, in
yes.
in maybe July. Is that right? Um,
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
exactly. Ultimately, these meetings can happen whenever makes sense for you. So, we say monthly, but for some organizations, it's like, let's do this month, and then in a week later, do next month, and then we're going to wait 2 months because
Yeah.
actually, that's just like how the flow of our, speed, how our speed is going.
Yeah.
That works fine. So
Okay.
you can put it on your calendar, maybe for, late, mid-June, to say when is the right time for the next call with Shoshana, and then decide when that goes on the calendar.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if
Awesome.
you want, I can just go ahead and cancel the
Yeah.
27th meeting. And now I remember that Lorraine from the start had said she wouldn't be here today, but the 27th she would be here.
Yeah. So sorry, Lorraine, for moving that one, but we'll make sure she can join us for the next one.
So
And
we're just
hopefully you'll get an email from her from Lorraine at ingafoundation.org. Wouldn't that be lovely?
Oh my God, that'd be amazing. Okay, so sending as agreed. Later, you will grab the time for further out. Okay, great. Done. Canceled.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I think I think that's good, actually, from our side.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
brief, the
Yeah.
draft of the brief is coming
Mm.
up,
Mm.
and I will send it to you. Actually, um,
Just moving to plug in my computer.
sure, sure.
Keep
If you have a suggested template or something for a website brief, um, or what's website transformation brief, it would be lovely to see that. If not, I
I
can.
don't, but it's the kind of thing that I could certainly search and within like 3 minutes quickly identify a good one that I recommend. So
That would
happy
be
to do.
lovely. That would, thank you very much. That would help.
Just
Just
had
give
a
us a steer.
just had a tour of the palace.
Oh, my past. You got to see my office, which is also our washing drying room, and where the washer
Mm.
dryer lives,
Mm.
and the
Mm.
and my
Mm.
kitchen.
Yeah.
This is not where I live most of the time. My husband needs to be in Mexico City for work during the week, so we have this apartment here. I live with a roommate, and then mostly I live in my house in the mountains, which is like an hour
Oh, wow.
outside, an hour and 15 minutes from here, in this beautiful, beautiful little town. But I had to come for a doctor's appointment yesterday, so I'm here in the apartment right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So I will find you a website brief template and send that along. Great. Anything else that you want to chat through, or anything else that would be useful?
Not, not at the moment. I think this gives us a lovely thing, and hopefully you can see that there is some movement. We're going to contact Molly and just thank her so much, and just tell her that we're rejigging things, with your blessing, to like have the same time, but have the same kind of support, but over a longer period of time. I'll take your brief and work some magic. And we're trying to find, as I said, just like one or two more organizations, one in Cornwall, one in Berlin, just to find someone fabulous. And thank you for telling us about the integrated stuff.
Yeah.
Michael, is there anything else from yours? And I will sort
No.
out the emails. I'm gonna get
Mm,
my fabulous Italian tech guy to work out what the hell's going on.
mm.
So,
So weird. I've like never heard of that happening, but
like they're set up
technology is
now.
sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. And we don't want to, we're trying to kind of, as much as possible, kind of come off of US servers if we can, like Google and stuff and Gmail and everything like that. We're trying to see if we can
Sure.
find Europe-based stuff.
Yeah.
My Italian IT guy, I think will help us. It feels like we've changed the cPanel. We have the email addresses, but I'm getting a bounce back, even though people are getting it. And we don't know why. So we'll sort that out. And yeah. Michael, is there anything else from your side we got?
Don't think so. No.
And we're
Just,
glad.
I mean, as you were talking about all of that,
Yeah.
my mind was wandering a little, and I was thinking, well, young trustees, and without even thinking about it,
Yeah.
I was thinking about what Brits do I know? And then I just thought, they don't have to be Brits. They can be
Mm,
anybody.
mm,
Person who
Yeah.
came to mind was Cristina Figueres, who was chair of the UN Climate Change Committee.
mm,
She's Costa Rican. I did all the
Hmm.
work in Costa Rica. No
mm.
idea whether she would agree.
Have you connected with her before?
No.
Okay. But lovely to try. And I think also
But it could
Nama
be
can.
anybody. It could be
Yeah.
a German. It could
Yeah,
be
yeah.
the people who seem to just love agroforestry. They just seem to, they kind of are the Scandinavians. They love it. Swedes and Norwegians,
But
for
they do.
some reason, love the idea of agroforestry. And I don't know what it is. It's, it's not in the Viking tradition, blood and thunder. I don't know what it is, but they love it.
And so there's nothing in UK law or US law that means that they have to be resident inside in the country to be a trustee of a charity from there?
Very good question. No, I mean, Bill's a US citizen. So no, I don't think so.
Okay.
No,
Do you
absolutely
do you know of
not.
anything, Shoshana, that would
My
work for
only
you?
experience with this is of this social enterprise in the UK. Now, they're not a charity, they're a social enterprise, but their board is also international.
Yeah,
There
yeah,
are, I think, maybe two people who are in the UK and the rest are not. So,
yeah,
if there's anything, it's not super restrictive, but I don't know what the details are.
yeah,
Okay. We can look that up. Awesome.
yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lovely.
yeah.
I just found a template that looks quite good
Okay.
for the website brief.
Oh, awesome.
Um, and I'll walk you through it very quickly. And
I've just sent you a request because I think it's automatically defaulting to my Belina Raffi at Gmail thing.
okay.
So because I can't see it otherwise.
All
Um,
right, hold on. I'm gonna make you a viewer so then you can make a copy later or download it. But you can see it on the screen. So basically, an overview of your organization.
mhm.
I'm going to look for a nonprofit one too, but this is a nice walkthrough. Deadline, budget. Who's your target audience? What are you trying to achieve with the website, and sort of who is it? Who are you just? Who's the main user of the website?
That is
What's
a
the
very,
objective?
very good question.
Mm.
Yeah,
And it
Um,
might be who do we want it to be too, Michael,
mm,
Okay,
versus
target. That's why it's
yeah,
target.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
no,
Who do you want your
yeah,
idea,
yeah,
who are you designing this for? If you had to think of one person that like this is my ideal donor or my ideal partner or both, and this is who I'm designing it for, then you put that.
Yeah.
You talk about your current website in terms of what is working, what's not working, if there's anything you want to retain from it.
Mm.
You speak to your main objectives of the new website. So, what are the objectives? Is it to, increase brand awareness, increase, donations, but what kind of donations? These kinds of things.
Yeah.
Um,
Fab.
so, this question, website competitors, I think you could you could probably skip this one. But I would do the websites you like. So what are a couple other websites of organizations that you particularly like, and what do you like about them?
Mm.
And then what content is going to need to be there? Sort of what sections, but also what state is that content in? Are you looking for this agency to sort of repackage current content, to write new content, etc.? Are there additional what photos, videos you guys already have, sort of mentioning that database of content you already have. Branding, right? What do they need to know about your branding? Is there any direction you want to take your branding beyond the basics that it currently has of like colors and logo? Do you want it to, can they push your brand? Can they update your colors? Things like this. And then any technical things. So does your site need to like, let's say you've started to think about which CRM is going to work for you guys, or which, email marketing platform will work. And so it's not going to be complex, but just saying we plan to integrate a newsletter sign up. And this is the platform we're considering using.
Yeah. We actually have a MailChimp, which I was given the keys to, but it's not being used at the moment. So we need to look at, but we do have a MailChimp.
Okay, great. So mentioning that kind of thing, these kind of more technical things that you want the website to be able to do.
Yep.
And then if whatever information you currently have or can acquire on your current domain and hosting, that will be really helpful for you to include that from the start. And then this is a great question too, on what kind of support will you need after the website is built?
Yeah.
So here we want you guys to continue to manage it, or we want to be able to make all the content edits, but we want you guys to continue to host it and manage that piece of it. And then anything else. So this is quite nice. I'm going to see if there's anything else from like nonprofit specific templates, but this is a good starting point.
Fun. Beautiful.
Okay, great. All right, guys. Well, this was great. You guys are moving along incredibly well, given everything that's on your plate, I have to say. So way to go on that. And we will move forward as we have defined.
Sounds brilliant. It's lovely to see
Michael,
you
good luck
again.
with your next surgery.
We'll look forward to seeing you in June and then July, I think.
No, we're gonna meet in July, but we're gonna work out in June when we're gonna meet her in July. That's
what I meant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'll be in Frascati mid-June. So
I don't know where I'll be.
Shoshana, thank you so much. And we're really happy that you're feeling better as well.
Yeah. We've both been there, believe me. Yeah. Years in the tropics.
Yeah. Tropical Institute bingo.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Gosh. All right, Mike, Belina, thank you guys. Have a wonderful afternoon, evening.
You too. Thank you so much.
All right, bye.